Good Shabbos.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to our mystical readings on the Parsha. Hope everyone's doing well. We've got a Parshat Devarim, the first book of Deuteronomy, this week. And we are with Noam Elimelech, who's another one of these early Hasidic rabbis, writing on this piece of Devarim where it says, You all approached me and said, this is Moses speaking, we will send people out before us to explore the land for us. And I said to you, do not fear. Yud-He-Vav-He, your God, who goes before you, will fight your battles, as you saw God do in Egypt. And regarding this matter, you do not trust Yud-He-Vav-He, your God, who goes before you along the way, seeking rest for you. So this is, they're on the edge of the Jordan River, more or less, waiting to go into the land of Israel. And Moses delivers his, having been told he can't go in, he delivers his final speeches, and then at the end of the book goes up to the mountain to die. So here, this is when he's just first starting out his speeches, and he's reviewing some of the journey of the past 40 years. And here specifically, he's looking at the story of the spies, which we are familiar with, where the Israelites say we want to send in spies into the land to see what it's like, and the spies go in and they come back, and all of them except for two of them give these essentially negative reports saying we wouldn't be able to conquer it because the land is filled with giants and we would not be successful. Rabbi Avi, any more context on that you want to give?
No.
Great. So, why did the Israelites send the spies? And why did Moses agree to this plan? Their intention was good. They wanted to clear the spiritual way into the land, to destroy the demonic forces, in the Hebrew the word is shells, that were in the land of Canaan. That being done, they would easily overcome and kill their enemies. Without the power and vitality that derive from these shells, they would be like dead bodies. Okay. Odd paragraph to see coming from a rabbi for most of us, but essentially the idea here, which if I want to acknowledge the problematic aspect of this, is that we as Jews draw our strength from God, and they as the Canaanites draw their strength from demonic forces, which is, as I said, understandably problematic for us in our day and age. But the statement essentially being that had there not been the demonic forces still in the land of Israel, right? If they could have, or the land of Canaan, if they had sent in these spies and these spies had been like demonic assassins, so to speak, and it could have taken out the demons, then it would have been really easy to conquer the land. Clearly not a literal reading of the spy text, right? And he's not going to so much dwell on this literal paragraph. He's kind of going through several steps to make it not the simple reading.
Um, so I just to make sure that I understand the paragraph. Um, so the intentions of the spies are good because they need to prepare. Like if the Israelites are going to make their way into the land of Israel, the land of Canaan, they need to have a spiritual preparation so that they can make sure that they enter and destroy the folks that are there, or send them out so that they can inhabit it. Um, and once they do that spiritual preparation, it's going to help them with the physical battle. Um, what the last sentence, does it mean that the Israelites themselves are getting power and vitality um, from the Canaanites, or from they're in? I'm not sure. Where are they? What are they deriving power from?
I think it's saying that the Canaanites derive power and vitality from the demonic forces, from these shells.
Ah, okay.
And so without that, they would not have, you know, power or vitality. Uh,
Ah, okay. Got it.
it seems conceptually similar to like, for example, the 6 Day War. Uh, the first thing Israel did was take out the air force bases of Egypt, and like when Egypt no longer had an air force, right, in just one fell swoop, the war was much easier for Israel to be successful in and ultimately win, and presumably saved a lot of Israeli lives. So this is like a mystical version of that, right? Send people in first to take out the the spiritual air force, so to speak, so that it would be
Got
easier
it.
to conquer.
Okay. Got it. So they're somehow gonna. Ah, okay. So now, okay, it was just a little confusing me. So now, okay, now I understand it. The spies are going in to destroy the demonic force that exists in the land of Canaan. Because once they destroy the demonic force, then the Canaanites are not going to have any power to have anymore. They're going to be like dead bodies.
Essentially, yeah,
Okay, got it. That was for some reason it was a little confusing to me.
yeah.
Okay.
It'd be interesting if it had gone the route of saying like, once they destroyed the demonic forces, the Canaanites would have been like, "Whoa, we're free from the demonic forces. Let's worship God and come join us."
Yeah.
No, it doesn't say that. All right. That is why the Israelites chose the best and most important people among them, tzaddikim, righteous, who through their great holiness had the power to destroy the shells. Right, so we have this tendency, because of the end result, to view the spies as not great people because they, so to speak, failed this divine test, whatever that means. But here it's saying, no, 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 no. They sent their best. They sent the crack unit of tzaddikim in. They sent one from each tribe, the best of them. The biblical commentator Rashi says that at the time they were sent, they were still righteous. But when the spies failed, Moses rebuked the people. He said to them, "Your intention was good in sending these spies, but you should have trusted God, who performed so many miracles for you and took you through the desert full of snakes and scorpions." Right? Like, even though these were your best people, you shouldn't even bother sending them. You should have known that we would have been successful. Uh, the desert full of snakes and scorpions alludes to the shells, right? The demonic forces of the desert that they had been traveling through. So presumably they've been clearing demons out of the desert for 40 years, or at that point for however long it was before the spies. So you should have logically thought that you could do that in the land of Israel too. God went before you there and destroyed them, and will do the same for all kingdoms you have to go through, seeking rest for you, making it easier for you to overcome your enemies by uprooting their vitality. Okay. Rabbi, any thoughts on that?
I was just gonna look up that verse in Numbers for a moment. Um, okay, okay, fine. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess it just show. I mean, this is a critique that I imagine many commentaries offer on the spies in that place in Numbers, but it's that all of a sudden, why the need for human um, human help when God has just taken them out of the land of Egypt and has a cloud of smoke by day and a pillar of fire by night and is raining manna on them and all this, and now they want like humans to help them out. They're relying on their spies. Like it just it seems like such a drastic shift, and so clearly it perhaps speaks to some type of spiritual deficiency
Hmm.
that they might have. Um,
Yeah, a lack of faith is how I often see it. discussed.
Right. How that connects to us nowadays, I don't know yet, but
It's not clear? What? Okay. I mean, you could imagine saying with this, your intention was good, but you should have trusted God. I mean, one could extend that to any situation. Um, it's a paradigm we're more familiar in our day with Christians having than Jews, right? Where they say, I just trust in God, I just trust in Jesus, no matter what, everything's going to be fine. And you don't often hear Jews that take that stance. At least I don't.
right, depends on your community. But let's see how he interprets it.
Thus, you all approached me and said, "We will send people out before us." Describes the intention that these people would clear all the obstacles on the road, the shells that still encamp there. And I said to you, do not fear regarding this matter. You do not trust Adonai your God. It would have been better for you to trust the Blessed Holy One to go before you to clear the way and bring you to the land. That paragraph I don't think really adds very much. Like, we essentially said all of that in our discussion.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just connecting it back to the verses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little disappointed. I wanted him to do something with it.
Indeed, and I thought you might be. And I was originally not going to choose this text because, yes, okay. I mean, it was a cute little midrash, All right. I always enjoy a midrash about demons, but like you didn't really take it anywhere.
Right.
How are we supposed to bring this into our lives? Is exactly your question.
Right.
And the reason I brought this text is actually because I liked what the translator's commentary on it was.
Great. Well, let's take a look.
This teaching is another example of the Hasidic tendency to spiritualize biblical stories. The real battlefield is the spiritual one, and worldly conquest is but a reflection of inner victories. But perhaps even more interesting is the implied critique against Hasidim, who count on the tzaddik to go in advance of them and do the spiritual heavy lifting for them. It is much better to rely on your own relationship with God.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. You're right. Perhaps, I mean, it's interesting because Noam Elimelech, from the little that I know about him, was very interested in the role of the tzaddik as being this, kind of spiritual leader, but also like intercessor for you. And so to hear that way of reading it it's interesting, right? So, okay. So I mean, so that makes it a little bit more palatable. I hadn't thought about that, but don't rely on, don't just rely on humans, but don't even rely on your leaders to figure out, whatever you need to do in your own spiritual life. And your own spiritual life needs to be guided by you.
Yeah. And that really spoke to me leading into the high holiday season, particularly.
The what?
I don't know if you've kept track of time, but it's now, I don't know, I think July or something. So we have these holidays coming up.
Right.
And like one of those tensions I think that we often have in the Jewish community is, the balance of the idea of the holidays as the day where you're in synagogue versus the season being the season where you're working on yourself.
Right.
And so what is it that you can do, to not rely on the leadership, not rely on the tzaddik or the spies or whatever, but to actually say, I'm going to take the holiday season seriously, and I'm going to really look at myself and do some spiritual work.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. All
Let's
right.
get to it.
Sounds good. We got a few more hours before Shabbos. We can get moving on that. All right. Well, thank you, Rabbi Abi. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. Have a lovely Shabbos. Hope to see you soon.
Have a good Shabbos, everyone.